Good evening, and welcome to Minnesota Insight. My name is Channing Alto, and I'll be your host tonight. And our guest tonight is Jerry Aukenfels, a landlord in Dinkytown since 1974. He owns 2 houses in Dinkytown, and we're really glad to have you tonight. Thanks for being here, Jerry.
Welcome, glad to be here.
So we'll start this out with asking you which factors help determine the price of rent at your properties.
Well, there's a lot of factors, I guess. One is there's a lot of costs involved, and I look in the daily and other places, see what other places are renting for in the same arena. I mean, when you rented from me, it was $440, and it's still $440. I mean, that's in an older house like that. House is 120 years old, and everybody has a room and a key, and so that's kind of how I determine my rates, I guess.
That's great. So when you first started renting, what was approximately your monthly rent for your own bedroom?
Well, I can't remember for sure. I bought it in fall of 1974, and I had some friends from my hometown. Within a year, 2 of the guys got married, and then I just started putting an ad in the daily, and I think it was about 70, 80, 85 bucks a month. I'm not really sure, actually. I just can't remember.
That's pretty good though, in the $75 to $80 range. That'd be pretty nice. And you said it's about $440 right now?
$440, yep.
Wow, that's great. So that being said, and given that you've seen Dinkytown's development since 1974, do you think that $440 a month will be remotely realistic in 5 years?
I don't believe it'll be $440 in 5 years. I mean, things do go up. But I also see what's going on in Dinkytown with all the buildings being knocked down, with people coming along and buying them. I suspect we're looking at more like $700 to $1,200. I don't know what mine will be. I don't know if I'll even own it in 5 years.
Yeah.
But no, it won't be $440 in 5 years.
No. That being said, you mentioned the development and kind of predicting that the development might have a hand in the future cost of rent. I'm just curious, has anyone ever approached you about purchasing one of your houses for redevelopment?
Yes, they have.
Yeah?
Yes, they have.
Recently? Or?
A couple of years ago. They knocked down, last year they knocked down 4 houses right next to me, and I wasn't ready to sell at that time. And now just today, across the street from me, they knocked down about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're going to knock down several more before the end of this week.
I'll just offer new redevelopment. Seems to be the trend.
That is the trend, and those are going to cost a lot more. They're going to all be in the $700 to $1,200 range.
Which obviously will probably have an impact on everyone's rent in the neighborhoods.
Unfortunately, yes, because too many kids are renting, but they're paying for rent with borrowed money, which to me doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be definitely an integral part of this issue. That being said, do you have any advice for students that might be entering the renting market for the first time?
Well, keep it as low as you can, because if you're going to be paying for rent now and you're going to still be paying for rent when you're 45 years old, there's something wrong with this whole equation. So keep it as low as possible. Look in the daily, look in Craigslist or whatever, because there are other places out there.
Because obviously, I mean, you've had a couple daughters that went through school too, right? So you have experience with how important not going into your post-grad life with an enormous amount of debt is, correct?
Well, both my daughters graduated with 0 debt, and my younger daughter, the one that, her boyfriend, Rob, she and Rob just bought a house a year and a half ago. They would have never been able to buy that house if she had debt. She had 0 debt when she graduated, so they were able to buy a house, and now within several years they'll actually be building equity instead of paying down the bill that they incurred while they were going to school. I mean, that's what debt is. It follows you for a long time, so keep it low.
Yeah,
if possible, that is.
Yeah, that's definitely a good message to kind of hammer home. Well, I have one more question for you. Given that you have seen firsthand the last 40 years of development in Dinkytown and around the U, Do you have any picture or any predictions, possibly grand scheme pictures or smaller microcosm predictions for the next 40 years of development, or just the state of Dinkytown?
Well, obviously the next, there's something in here that we haven't discussed at all yet, but the city has a 40-acre study, which is I don't know how many year plan, but the city wants high development, high density development. That's kind of the reason to bring in the light rail through, and light rail is not really close to Dinkytown, but it's close enough. You know, so things are going to go a lot higher. It isn't bad to have high density, you know, because if you have people going into the suburbs, then you spend a lot of money on gas. But there's a cost thing that, and I don't know how you bring down those costs. I mean, because it costs a lot if you're going to have like a swimming pool and a billiard pool and whatever else.
Yeah.
I don't have those things. I just have a room.
No, just a room for
Just a room.
a reasonable price that sets you up for success in the future.
Well, that's what I would hope people would think about, because if you're a kid going to school at the U, you don't need in my mind, like some of these have these luxury things on top where they have a gas fire pit where you can go out and party. Well, still, you're going to be paying for that gas fire pit when you're in your 40s.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any
exactly.
sense.
It's not
to
worth
me.
it. We got to think long term. Well, thank you very much for being on the show tonight. And thank you guys for tuning in to Minnesota Insight. Thanks.